Teresa, thank you so much for joining me for our conversation about Boomerang Youth Cafe. How are you doing today?
I'm all good. All good.
You're all good.
Yeah.
So, for those people who are going to be tuning in, they may never have heard of the Boomerang Cafe.
Yeah.
What the hell is it? And what the hell do you do?
Well, initially it's a youth cafe where young people can drop in and hang out. It's a safe space for them to hang out, but also on top of that, we offer a wide range of programs that they can kind of meet up with new people that maybe share interests and maybe try new things that they've never done before. That's really it in a nutshell.
Okay, so and you guys have been around for a long enough old time now.
Yeah.
Where did this all start from? So how long is Boomerang going?
Yeah. So it initially started from DYD was an organisation. It's kind of like the overarching organisation, and they're focused on educational programmes initially. And a group of students from the Young Social Innovators came up and said from their project that there was no safe space for young people to hang out anywhere in Drogheda. And they started the initiative, and then DYD took it over and they said, right, okay, we're going to try and do this. And it took them quite a long time, I think, to try and find a perfect space, because Drogheda has the river in the middle and there's each side, and it's to try and be very central, to find the perfect building that was going to be suitable for it. And thankfully they got the Carnegie Library, and it's a perfect building. And they opened up officially in 2013. So
Okay, so
yeah.
coming up to 10 years almost.
Yeah, yeah.
And I suppose, again, there's probably going to be a lot of people watching this who are not from Drogheda. And you mentioned there the river.
Yes.
And both sides of the river.
Yes.
And I want to let you talk about that, because growing up in Drogheda, I'm well aware of the divide of Drogheda. But talk to me a bit about what is the significance of the river and both sides of the town, and why it was so important for you guys to have a space that was central.
Yeah, because we wanted to make sure that we kind of offered to all young people, not from both sides of the river, because it's like a physical divide nearly. It's nearly like a border in the best way possible to explain it. That the each side calls it the other side the far side. You know, it's like, I'm not going to the far side, don't go over there, you know, it's too far, you know, even though it's not really. But, you know, there is that kind of idea that it's too far away, they don't want to be a part of that side. So we very much, the very much ethos that it was to make sure that we cater for both, and that it's very, very central in the town, so both travel the same nearly amount of distance. And yeah, I think we've been successful in doing that too. So
Yeah, and the Carnegie Library is a old building.
Very
it's
old
amazing.
building. Yeah.
And I remember when you guys got the keys and started work, like the amount of old things that caused hassle and caused problems. Was that a bit of an arduous task for the people involved, do you think?
Yeah, and like I wasn't here at the very beginning. I'm only in, and as you can guess, I'm not from Drogheda either. So, but yeah, I like there was a lot to it, because downstairs, so there's a basement downstairs, and in the basement they had to make sure that it was there was disability access, so there was a fairing key, and they had to like they had to put through walls, like really old walls. And then they had to put a lift in, and the lift had to go from the bottom of the building right up to the top, which was four floors. So there was a lot of, and then because it was a listed building, there was a lot of things that has to be kept. You know, so it was kind of modernised. I think it was a very big task, because they had to keep it to its historical kind of value, and then to modernise it. But I think they've done a fantastic job. It's amazing. It's a nice wee blend of old and new together, you know. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they've done an amazing job.
Yeah.
And
we're always renovating, we're always changing, we're always adding, we're never done. Like, we've just recently got the whole place painted again, which is amazing, but it needs the youth kind of vibe again, you know. So it's but as any youth centre, it wears and tears, but we're always looking to renovate. We've always looking to add to new to it. So we've had dividers in there recently for the cafe, because the cafe is so big. So as a program, we're doing catering. None of the young people were allowed in, so we got these dividers in to cater for both groups. You know what I mean? We're always trying to kind of find new things and trying to add to it what we've got to.
Yeah, and I think with any building, it becomes a living being, because it's not until you live in it that you start to realise what the things are that you need to kind of make changes and alterations. Yeah. And for you guys, and traditionally, money has not just been sitting in a big pot, has it?
No, I have to say, Katrina Culligan, our coordinator, has just, and the board of management, but I think Katrina has been the driving force of, she's just constantly kind of resourcing. We're an independent youth organisation. We're not through the likes of Feroga or Youth Work Ireland. We're completely independent, so we don't have that kind of money coming in. We have to resource loads of different funding. We've got money coming in from all different pies for all of our different projects, and we're always resourcing. I know that they had to get a loan out to actually pay for the big building too as well, you know, for that whole renovation. And I don't want to be quoted on how much it cost, but it was a pretty penny. It's a very pretty penny, as you can imagine, because it's such a big building. But we're always looking for funding. We're always looking to, as I say, because we need it. We need it to run. We need it to open the doors.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the really important elements for the listeners and watchers to really understand, is that for anyone working in the youth sector, we're all used to applying for funding, for pots of funding to afford to pay for programs. But it's extremely challenging to get funding for staff.
Absolutely.
For upkeep. Yep. For constant and pay, like, so you guys are paying off a loan, but you still need to renovate and keep things moving on a listed building which has major restrictions. And when you don't have the weight of a larger organisation there behind you, it is such a challenge. And I have to be honest, it's one of the things that I admire most about Katrina.
Absolutely.
And the board of management, but definitely Katrina, is that desire and that drive to keep things going, to keep looking for new ways. But it took quite a while for Katrina even to get you guys into position.
That's it, yes. So DYD's been going for 29 years, and Katrina's been there nearly from the very beginning as well. So she was the driving force of Boomerang too, and Boomerang's been in from 2013. And there was all this money and all this funding, and as Katrina had said, because at the time there was a lot of emphasis on youth cafes, and it was like there was loads of funding out there to start youth cafes, and it was like, this is brilliant, but what about staffing? So then that was our next issue. It was like, right, she's not a youth worker, and you have, you know what I mean, and Boomerang also heavily relies on CE. But CE, you know yourself, Alan, that you need qualified youth workers with experience of trained up staff to be able to support the young people adequately. And CE just are not at that level, do you know what I mean? So she had to try very, very hard, and was very, it took a long time. Like, I wasn't in place until 2007, I want to say 17, but I think it was 2018. I didn't get into position, so that's from 2013, and I think it was even before Boomerang started. She was looking to try and get a youth worker in place, but Department of Children and Youth Affairs then recognised that, and we got funded then for a position for myself, well, for a full-time youth worker. That would be me. So.
And for those who don't know, like, CE is community employment staff, so people who would be on the live register, who would have an interest in maybe working with young people, but
absolutely,
they wouldn't necessarily have the background or the skills or the training in how to create programs, run programs, engage young people, so they're learning as well. So absolutely. In some ways, sometimes you can get phenomenal CE staff who are, you can just give them the keys and they'll run the place, but sometimes you don't, and that's just the way it is. So you coming on board, and then Kieran coming on board later, you know, was so important. And I could see from the outside looking in the level of quality, and I I don't want to talk you up now, like God's sake. But the quality of the programs that were being provided just went through the roof because of that skill base and professionalism that you guys have.
Yeah.
But you're two people.
Yeah.
And you have a hell of a lot of young people coming through your doors.
Yes. Yeah.
So are you guys restricted then through a lack of funding in providing services
So
that you would like to?
yeah, so our funders are mainly looking to work with young people that are targeted. So they have to be targeted young people. So they're young people, and absolutely they're at most need. But there's a lot of young people out there that, as they call universal young people, the young people that wouldn't be maybe seen as targeted. But to me, every young person is targeted, and we're restricted in who we can work with and how we can work with them. And it would be great to kind of have that somebody that can work, that is more free to work with other young people. Am I making sense there? Do you know, like,
You are,
yeah. Because like the way the funding works now is that we work under 4 strands, and that's LGBT, mental health, employability, and I'm trying to remember, drugs and alcohol. So you have to fit young people into that. You know, who you support young people under them brackets. And there's a whole cohort of young people that you need to support, and you feel like you really need to support them, and in a universal way, because once you put young people, I believe that once you put young people into a bracket, that's they're pigeonholed into that, and they need to be working with other young people that aren't in that, you know, that aren't in that environment, so they can grow and learn and develop, you know, and they're not stigmatised. And I think sometimes that's the danger, that they can be stigmatised.
Absolutely, and I think there seems to be an assumption within decision makers where these young people who maybe aren't coming to the attention of the guards or social workers or anyone like that,
they don't need support.
Well, they don't need support, or their parents can afford to pay for them to do everything that they need to do.
Absolutely, and that's not the case.
It's not the case at all.
No.
So, if this project that I'm undertaking actually is fruitful and successful and sells out, hopefully there will be a significant amount of money coming to Boomerang. Hopefully. What would that mean to you guys in terms of building the structures that you have, but also engaging maybe those young people that you maybe aren't allowed to because of the targeting?
Yeah.
What would it mean to you guys to have a chunk of cash coming in the door?
I would, you know, it just means that we could offer young people an opportunity to do things that they maybe wouldn't get to do. You know, or it could be maybe starting up a group that fits in, that doesn't have to fit into a section within that. Do you know what I mean? So it could be, you know, it like we always work from what the young people need. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's trying to manoeuvre into where we can get the funding for that, or where that kind of goes. Whereas this then we're not heavily, you know what I mean? That we can start things and develop things, and you know, give young people the support that they would definitely need, and not worry about whether it fits with the funders' needs. Instead it would be completely on the young people's needs.
It's interesting, before we pressed the record button, we were chatting about it, and you were saying, like, you know, I have all these programs here that, you know, I'd love to run, and I just can't because they don't fit into the pigeonhole.
Yeah.
So there's all these programs I could run. So people who will maybe take part in this project and help us to raise the funds, this is what your money's going towards.
Absolutely, yeah.
Actually helping young people engage in something where they're not being pigeonholed, they're not being restricted, and that they can engage with other young people and learn from each other and just have a safe space to go for young people.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. I'm saying, you know, we work with quite a wide range of young people. You know, we offer quite a wide range of groups. And it's always like, that's your time slot. But we also pre-COVID, we also had that open access, and that was really where we really developed our programs, because it came from them. They were saying, you know, like, we've recently started an anime youth group, you know, and that all came from different members sort of talking about their hobbies and having that open relationship, not focusing on programs, not focusing on personal development programs. That actually came from sitting down having a cup of coffee with a group of young people and them saying about their hobbies and saying, well, what do you do? How do you meet? And it says, well, we don't really meet with anybody. And it was like, well, how about we offer that space? You know what I mean? It actually came from two young people as well as two young people from the school wanting to start it but didn't know where. You know, I think that's where you're going to get really good, and that's where youth work is supposed to develop, actually, to me anyway. I believe that that's where you're going to get young people really into it. It has to come from them. It has to come organically. You can't start a program and then say, right, join in. It won't work. It has to come from them. You know, so.
Yeah, and absolutely. And if, you know, having that space that you can do that then allows, say, you and I to communicate and kind of go, oh, look, Alan, there's this kid that maybe you could work with, or I could say, Teresa, there's this young person that I think would fit in with this group of yours. But that only happens through that relationship building and having that ability to sit down and just not be under pressure for them to do a program, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions, where it's just I can just chill out and just be myself. I can sit with my friends and chat to the youth workers about what I'm interested in.
That's it. Yep.
So it's essential.
Yeah. So,
is there anything else that the people need to know about Boomerang Youth Cafe?
I think I'm not. You know, I'm going to finish this and say, oh, I wish I said this. I wish I said that. You know, that kind of way. I think it's just that we're always trying to be innovative. We're always trying to I keep saying it, and I think it's very important, because I think people are lost. People sometimes lose that kind of ability of that organic youth work. You know what I mean? And that we're always willing to start stuff new. So there was like two professional dance instructors. One of their young people died by suicide, and they wanted to offer a mental health support group. And we were like, well, it's coming from them. They have a group of young people, so we offered that space, and that's been so successful. It's unbelievable. You know, and once again, that came from them, that came from the need, that came from the community, and we're always striving towards that. And if there's anybody out there that thinks that I'd be interested in starting something, come to us and we'll try and figure something out, because we're really, really keen. We really want to start, and the more the merrier. You know, we're always trying to. The more opportunities for young people, the more they develop and grow. There's a lot of there's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of opportunities that maybe young people aren't aware of and don't know about, and I would hope that Boomerang is the one to promote it and try and get the word out there. It doesn't have to be from Boomerang, it can be from any agency, but if we can promote another agency to do that, we'll do that. You know yourself, Alan, that we work well with other organisations. We're very keen to, we're not keen to duplicate, we're keen to work with. You know, we're always working in partnership. We don't want to duplicate any work. We don't want to take anybody else's work, but we're always keen to work with other people too. You know, so.
Teresa, thank you so much for today's chat. I really appreciate it, and hopefully the listeners will have got a good picture of what the service is and how important the continued support. So, where can people go and find out more about Boomerang?
Well, I think we're on every social network platform. We've just recently started a TikTok page.
Brilliant. Are you doing all the dancing?
Oh yeah. Once again, the young people were dying to do it, so we set it up. You know, they were doing loads of TikTok videos. So it's like, right, well, then we'll put it up. So we're on everything, and we have our website as well. And our website is currently getting updated too, because it was kind of old. So we need to refresh it. So it was getting updated. Okay. But you can get us on our all Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok website. And it's just Boomerang Youth Cafe or Boomerang Cafe, one or the other, but we're there.
Fantastic, Teresa. Thank you so much.
No worries.